What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. I got some major stimulus news here for you guys and some checks going out to millions of Americans and some new information about checks that actually some new coming checks or new checks that might be coming. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that there is a bunch of checks. In fact, there's 33 to 35 different states that have sent out stimulus checks or tax rebate checks or inflation relief checks here this year. And also, there's a bunch of different federal programs going on here this year as well. Part of my mission here is to keep you up to date here with all of these different programs or inflation relief checks, all these different things here. If you've been watching my channel for a while, that's just part of my mission here on a daily basis. Also, our family is giving away cash here in November and December with our daily trivia question. So if you can answer a trivia question, you could win money directly from me. We're doing those every day here before Thanksgiving. We'll be doing those in December here as well. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, just click the subscribe button down below, then the bell icon that appears afterwards. And this way you won't miss out on our new YouTube videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos as well. So, those will be coming out once a day. And if you guess correctly, you could win money directly from me. All right, so let's jump right in. I got a lot to talk about here in this video. Here we go. Okay, first up, the South Carolina Department of Revenue has begun issuing 2022 tax rebate checks up to $800. Yeah, these are going out now and will continue by December 31st for millions of people here. This is just the first one here. I got several to go over here in this video. Up to $800. Yeah, so you can see here the South Carolina Department of Revenue said they've begun issuing 2022 individual tax rebate checks for eligible South Carolinians. South Carolinians? Yeah, they said they're sending these out now. The amount is based on their 2021 tax liability up to $800. So this is one of those states that is sending out a different amount per person. Some of these other states are sending out checks that are the same amount per person. This state's, every state's doing these inflation relief checks, whatever, each state sometimes calls them different things here. But this one does it a little bit differently. A little bit differently. You can also check the status of this if you're from South Carolina on the South Carolina website. It's dor.sc.gov/rebate 2022. Or you could probably just Google it. Just go to South Carolina rebate status on Google. You could probably find it there. It's going out to, I think, I can't remember, it's like 3 million people or something like that. A couple $billion. Next up, more than 68,000 low-income New Jersey families will get $500 this month as part of stimulus aid. Yeah, so this is the kind of cool stuff I love covering on my channel because it's just programs or checks, stimulus aid. I don't know what you want to call this stuff. There's stuff like this happening all the time, all the time. And that's what's nice about these, I don't know, 35 different states. I've really just kind of lost count because, I don't know if New Jersey did a check earlier this year or not. I don't know if I should count this as 36 or 37 or 38. But it's just like, who knows at this point? I'm not even counting. But it's nice to know that there's just it feels like every week there's a new state sending out stuff here. But here's the details on this one. More than 68,000 New Jersey low-income families will receive a $500 check in the mail this month. if they were not eligible for federal stimulus help and filed taxes with an ITIN, the New Jersey Department of Treasury announced on Friday. This program was funded with American Rescue Plan funds in the state budget, which was designed to help people who didn't receive cash benefits from the excluded New Jerseyans Fund and people experiencing homelessness. It's designed for residents who work hard and pay taxes and were equally impacted by the pandemic, but had not received similar assistance from the federal government. Also, just briefly, New Jersey lawmakers are also calling for an overhaul of state veteran homes in wake of a report that more than 200 residents died during the pandemic. Should be removed from the State Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, as veterans are not happy with this, saying, quote, "We made a promise that we would care for the veterans at the highest level who served our country," saying, quote, we're failing them. Changing personnel here or there won't make the difference." So, God bless our veterans, and, they're trying to make changes. So, let's hope that happens. If you're part of this New Jerseyans excluded fund, you do not need to apply. The state will send checks to you if you're eligible, and they used your 2021 taxes. The state of Oregon's predicted 2024 kicker rebate grows to $3.6 billion ahead of a likely, what they're calling a mild recession. I think that the 2024 kicker comes in 2023. Let me know if that's right here. One likely upshot is that taxpayers will receive an even larger kicker tax rebate check, basically an extra stimulus check from Oregon, which kind of looks like Oregon will be receiving yearly stimulus checks at this point because of how much state surplus money they have. So it looks like Oregon might be receiving a stimulus check every year at this point. So Oregon has $3.7 billion, up from $3.5 billion just a year ago. So, yeah, they're saying that there will be an even larger tax rebate check. Well, the only thing about this here is that Oregon has a 2-year budget. A 2-year budget. So, yeah. We'll have to see how that works. I'll keep you up to date here on this. The state of Mississippi plans income tax elimination, and Alabama plans a temporary rebate check. You could see here so many different states literally just saying, we got a lot of money, let's do something with it. Mississippi says, last session I was proud to sign into law the largest tax cut since Mississippi became a state in 1817, returning over $500 million to its rightful owners, taxpayers. Thanks to last session's historical tax cut, Mississippi now has the 5th lowest marginal tax rate in the entire nation. Not bad. While I am proud that Mississippi took a major step forward in 2022 by reducing the income tax and allowing Mississippians to keep more of their hard-earned money, it is clear that there is more work to be done. They're now proposing that Mississippi eliminate its income tax by reducing it immediately to 4% on all taxable earned income, and by an additional 1% each year over the next 4 years, down to potentially 0%. 0% income tax does sound pretty good on a state level. There's only a few states that have that. They said, after all, every dollar taken by the state is one less dollar that a family has to support their family, and Mississippi can afford to eliminate its income tax. Their proposal is feasible, practical, and does not require cutting current state expenditures. That's pretty awesome. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey and some Alabama legislators have repeatedly suggested offering a temporary tax rebate, which is a check, to Alabamians. Am I saying that right? Alabamians? I love all these state names, they're pretty awesome. And argued against broad permanent tax relief in recent months. Each state does this different. They want to lower taxes permanently or send out a one time check. I mean, you guys can let me know what you think is better. Is a one time check better? But really, you could get another check the next year, a one or two, three checks. But really, you just got to count your chickens when they're hatched, right? Is a one-time check better, or is permanent tax relief, cutting the tax rate better in recent months despite record surpluses? They say potential upcoming downswings in the economy is a reason not to cut taxes permanently. So Alabama may be having one of those coming soon. Also, here on the federal level, 200,000 people with student loans were just granted $6 billion in student loan debt relief after a federal judge approved a settlement with the Biden Education Department um, from a lawsuit that a federal judge approved here. This stemmed back from underneath former President Donald Trump. And this is now settled by a federal judge. Also, here, so $6 billion for 200,000 students. This has to do with a bunch of colleges misleading students and defrauding them. It's kind of the short and simple on this. Also, the Biden administration seeks Supreme Court relief after the student loan debt plan is temporarily blocked. Temporarily blocked. Yeah, and this this it was temporarily blocked by an original Trump appointee, Republican justice, and then it went to a court of appeals that was blocked by, you won't believe this, but a three-judge panel on the Eighth Circuit, which the three-judge panel comprised of two Trump-appointed judges and one appointed judge by President George W. Bush. Is this ironic that all these judges just happen to be appointed by Republican judges and are Republicans? Remember that when uh, when presidents appoint judges, they always appoint people from their own party. So yeah, so the rulings here, the equities strongly favor an injunction considering the irreversible impact that the Secretary's debt forgiveness action would have as compared to the lack of harm on the injunction would presently impose. Among the considerations, this is what the lawsuit that the states have filed. There's like 6 states, Republican-led states that have filed this, is that the fact that the collection of student loan payments as well as the accrual of interest on student loans have both been suspended. So their states are trying to say that they've been harmed because the accrual of interest and student loans have been suspended. You can't make this stuff up. The White House maintains that its policy is authorized by the 2003 federal law known as the Higher Education Act, Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act, which both Trump and Biden administration have drawn upon to alleviate student borrowers during the pandemic to pause payments and interest. So Trump actually started that, and then Biden also paused the student loans and the interest payments. Yeah, and remember here that Republican appointed Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who was appointed by former President Donald Trump, uh, said twice on 2 other different lawsuits that made it to the Supreme Court that no, those lawsuits were deemed legal, and she dismissed those cases to block the student loan forgiveness. Remember, this would help over 40 million Americans, um, basically help them with the $10,000 to $20,000 of basically stimulus aid. And remember, this isn't going to raise any taxes for anybody. Just like um, when they have gone out and added SNAP benefits, nobody raised taxes. When they're sent out the stimulus checks, nobody raised taxes. When they did the PPP program, the rent assistance, the mortgage assistance, the utility assistance, all these different things, there hasn't been any taxes raised on anybody. Um, so really, this was a way to kind of send out stimulus checks to 40 million people. It might be you, it might be your brother, your sister, your aunt, your neighbor. It really depends on who I'm talking to. It's probably going to go to the Supreme Court now. And the Supreme Court has already twice said that this was legal, but it was done by a single judge who was in charge of the case when it went there. Okay. Now it could happen again. It also could go to the full panel where there's 9 justices and 6 of them are Republican, 3 of them are Democrat. Because remember that we simply know this because, first of all, the judges openly tell us, and secondly, they're appointed by Republicans or Democrats. So presidents don't pick judges from the opposite party. They just don't. Just how it is. Especially people like Trump. Like Trump would never pick a Democrat or a left-leaning or a liberal or somebody like that. Um, was just a no-brainer here. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date here. I mean, this is really like hinging on a lot of people because you got to think if you've had a student loan for years and years and years and years, and you're looking at potentially getting $10,000 to $20,000 of it just forgiven. This is literally like the biggest thing in your life right now. Yeah, and it's going to all potentially come down to one or maybe a few judges on what their opinion is because really we're looking at this and it goes to one judge and they're like, yeah, it's good. And then it goes to another judge and they're like, no, I don't think it's good. So, so really it's just like one judge has one opinion and another judge has another opinion. And really it boils down to whether they're Republican or Democrat a lot of times. It's just I know you can't make this stuff up. But 40 million people's livelihoods or financials, finances are really hinging on the opinions of a few potentially Supreme Court justices here in a few days. So I'll keep you up to date on this and everything else going on here in our country on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel because really you can't get a lot of this type of news anywhere else here. So yeah, and thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. Share these videos on Facebook, your social media with your family and friends because I'll keep you up to date here on everything, all these different type of federal programs. There's rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, all sorts of things that go on here all the time. All the time. It's not like the student loan forgiveness is really the only thing that's ever happened. This type of stuff really happens all the time if you watch my channel here. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date here. And here's my newest video about stimulus checks. And here's my newest video, period, just my newest video. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.